Have you ever wondered how intricate the body has been designed? And because of how intricate it is, how interwoven our body, our inner body parts, our mind, our spirit, our soul, how those have been so intricately woven together, how that actually gives a specific relationship between certain things. Now, I'm going to talk today in this video about specific mindsets that cause specific diseases. So I'm going to give some examples afterwards, and you can see in this video that I've talked about specific toxic mindsets that came out of a broken heart, how specific mindsets came out of a place of bitterness and unforgiveness, and some specific mindset that came out of a place of abandonment and failure, and how that can link to certain diseases. So I've actually intentionally left this blank so that I can get to the specific disease caused by these different things, okay? But before I get that, I want to lay the groundwork for what I'm about to talk about, because being in health is something that most people don't talk about. And that is the uncommon truth that I want to start off by saying, that if you are there trying to do something to be healthy, okay? You see, that's already an oxymoron. How can you do something to be healthy? The proverb says, right, as a man thinketh, so he will be. It's not about doing more, it's about being more. And that's how we actually achieve health and everything else that comes under a human being, okay? Now, so I understand that you and I are probably on the same wavelength right now, that we are called to be in health and not to do health, okay? If you are in that predicament phase where you are going like, I don't know if this ever makes sense, please go watch my videos from before where I talk about the first relationship and how we all were designed, okay? Not for a healthy mindset, yes, but first and foremost, we were designed for healthy relationships. And that is literally where healthy or toxic mindsets come from. So if you haven't watched the video on my first pillar of health that no doctors will ever tell you, you need to go watch that video. So pause this video, go back to that video so that all this stuff that I'm talking about next will make sense to you, okay? So now, assuming that someone has already sieved out what relationships are healthy, what relationships are not healthy, then we can actually look at this proverb that says, as a man thinketh, so he will be. So when we talk about the specific relationship between a certain fear that came out of a relationship, then we can derive a specific mindset or a specific toxic mindset, and that can be linked to a specific disease, okay? So in the next 3 to 4 minutes, I'm going to talk about 3 common diseases that you and I see so often, so commonly today. It is so common to the fact that, to the point where if I were to name these diseases in just a second, you could easily come up with 3 people each, okay, that has either one of these diseases, okay? I'm going to list them down right now. They are allergies. Okay, in fact, I'm going to play a little game, okay? If you're there and you are trying to participate, I'm trying to give you a chance to participate here, okay? I'm going to talk about allergies today. I'm going to talk about asthma, and I'm going to talk about arthritis, okay, AAA. Now, with my blue arrow, I'm going to actually connect the dots, okay? So these 2 are together, abandonment and failure, okay? All right, and I'm going to actually link the dots to you. That means there are specific mindsets, okay, that would actually cause a specific chemical reaction in your body, right? Obviously, it's all formulated first in the brain, causing a physical reaction in the body, and then displaying it as disease picked up in a lab test or some kind of medical diagnostic test, right? So the asthma is linked to abandonment, okay? Allergies are linked to the broken heart. And arthritis, okay, and please, I'm not talking about arthritis as in autoimmune conditions like psoriatic arthritis, and enteropathic arthritis, or ankylosing spondylitis, all these big autoimmune conditions that have joint problems. I'm not talking about that, okay, I'm talking about just arthritis as in osteoarthritis. So maybe let me be a little bit clearer here. Osteoarthritis, which actually is non-autoimmune immune. Okay, let me just make that clear. All right, because that has another root cause that I'm not talking about in this video today. Okay, so arthritis is actually linked to bitterness. Okay, now, so when it comes to someone who has an issue with asthma, why is it first linked to abandonment and failure? Okay, now I'm going to talk about the science behind it, okay, but without getting too sciencey here, understand that asthma, it's a problem with the adrenal glands, and the adrenal glands are the ones that manage stress. Okay, so in fact, holistically speaking, the way your body was designed, a lot of people with asthmatic problems in their lungs, right? The problems are actually rooted in a overtaxed adrenal gland, and those are the two glands that sit on top of your kidneys that manage stress. So whatever causes you to have unnecessary stress over a period of time, it will tax your adrenal glands to the point of exhaustion. And when that happens, an asthmatic reaction can actually happen, and then that's where you bring in all the different allergens and stuff that can actually trigger the asthmatic attack. But what we actually found to be the main stressor of the adrenal glands is actually rooted in a fear of abandonment and failure. Okay, abandonment meaning that you actually felt rejected, you felt that your dad or your mom, primarily someone in the family, your family circle, someone close to you, someone that you actually expected love from, but you actually didn't get that love, and that actually has caused your body to actually adopt this specific fear, and then develop a unhealthy mindset of abandonment. So you start to enter relationships, right, later part in life, and you have this fear of abandonment, like you are literally scared to commit to a certain relationship because you are scared to be abandoned. And that's what we know to be a major root cause of asthma. Okay, so please don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying don't treat the allergens, don't treat the different things that trigger the asthma, but first, before you treat the body, what do? You go back to the preceding pillar, and that's the toxic mindset of abandonment and failure. And then you gotta go back to the first pillar, which is unhealthy relationships. What unhealthy relationship arose that triggered this abandonment mindset? Okay, the fear of failure is also a huge one, and that's actually very pertinent to people like Singaporeans, where we actually fear to fail, and that's actually coming from that performance mindset where our identity is actually based on performing. That means you may not actually do things out of authenticity. You may not be genuine in doing that thing. You're just performing so that you gain approval of someone else. And that's actually what we call the fear of man as well, where you start to actually be fearful of what people say of you, and that it can actually also link to abandonment, but also because you don't want to fail in front of that person. Okay, so that is another toxic mindset that has found to be a major contributory cause to asthma. Okay, so like in our clinic, we actually treat patients with asthma, and we still adjust the spine. There are specific parts in the upper neck when it is traumatically altered, maybe from a miscarriage or from a traumatic birth, or forceps birth or vacuum birth. Anything that's actually knocked the upper neck out of alignment can actually interrupt the breathing centers, right, in the respiratory centers in your brainstem, and that can actually cause asthma as well. So you see, if someone has a traumatic problem here, that's not in accordance with design, because the way the baby was meant to come out was smooth and uninterrupted. So when someone actually goes in and externally forces the baby out, yes, the baby came out, congratulations, baby's born, baby can still breathe. But what if the upper neck has been knocked out of alignment? And a chiropractor like myself, when we take x-rays or we look at specific medical devices that we use to diagnose spinal misalignment, and then we find that the spine is misaligned, we can fix that. But then we don't get the results that we want, which is total healing from asthma, until we actually fix the abandonment and the failure. So we have many cases in our clinic, and I've seen testimonies across the world where patients have achieved significant results just by getting the body treated, but the problem never really went away. And that's when we actually had to go okay, let's look at the first 2 pillars of health, and that's when patients start to divulge certain relationships that were broken, that led to a fear of failure and abandonment, and then we counsel them through healing from these 2. Okay, now the next one is actually allergies. Okay, little did we know that allergies are coming from a place of broken heart. Now, the broken heart can come from a similar place of abandonment and failure, but that is really linked, right? Or that's really associated with problems that came out of a poor immune system. Now, why do I say that? Science has proven that the way allergies work is through this part of your immune system that could overreact to certain food substances. That's why you have allergies to foods, or certain food toxins like perhaps paraxanthine, which is a toxin in coffee, in caffeine, right? So some people can be allergic to certain things like that. It's because the body has actually learned or been conditioned to react to these things. Now, are these things inherently harmful to you? No. God designed them for your pleasure. That's it. Okay, that's the truth. So why has your body reacted, or how has your body gotten into this state where it is now conditioned to react, so that you eliminate it from your life and you can never enjoy the benefits of those substances, or those food substances, right? Now, why would someone have to avoid eating eggs their whole life? Or would someone have to avoid eating gluten their whole life? Those things were designed for you and I to enjoy, for you and I to benefit in our health, right? And that's actually God's design. So how have you deviated from that? Is because we have seen another part of the immune system, which is what I actually like to call the T cells. Okay, and science has actually shown that your T cells coming from your thymus gland are actually the first part of the immune system that forms the first line of defense. That means when an infectious agent comes into the environment and it goes into your nostrils or your eyes or your ears, whatever, and you inhale it, or something comes in contact with your mouth, you ingest it, and your body goes, oh, that's foreign, that's not good. What cells actually are first launched to tackle that? That's your T cells. Okay, and when your T cells are not working well, guess what? Okay, I'm just going to put a downward arrow there. That's when your B cells, okay, which is what happens in allergies when your allergic response, your allergy response actually kicks in, then your B cells start to react with mast cells, and then they release a histamine, and then you got watery eyes, you got itchy throat, you got rashes and stuff like that. And that's why people take antihistamines to counteract that problem, because your B cells are overactive. But guess what? That did not come by itself. It came from a poor immune system that does not react well to foreign infectious microbes. Okay, so that is allergies for you. And now lastly, okay, arthritis is from a place also from bitterness and unforgiveness, and actually we have found a lot of them to be common amongst most people, some kind of arthritis, because unforgiveness happens to be the first major block to healing in every case. Okay, if you don't heal well, your body doesn't achieve healing. A lot of times you're either not doing something right when it comes to healing the body. That means you're not it's not in accordance to design. Maybe you're trying to exercise well, but you're not eating well. Okay, that's just within the body. But in the first 2 pillars of health, when we talk about relationships and mindsets, we are actually talking about unforgiveness being the first major block to healing. Now, you see this little arrow here that I drew? Bitterness leading to unforgiveness. The reason why I say that is because unforgiveness do not just appear out of nowhere. Unforgiveness in the heart actually comes out of an umbrella. Okay, it comes under the umbrella of bitterness. That means something that someone did or something that someone said to you actually created bitterness in you, and it was undealt with to the point where it started drawing out unforgiveness in you, and you started to, that unforgiveness starts to manifest in, hatred and anger and stuff like that, and you start to slander that person, and you might even retaliate against that person. You might even do something bad against that person, simply because of unforgiveness that was rooted in undealt with bitterness. Okay? Now, Arthritis today, we know it to be some kind of autoimmune disease because your body actually starts to be so stressed from a toxic mindset place, okay, and it starts to attack your joints. And when your joints are being attacked, your body goes, I need to now create certain physical reactions within the joint, and it starts to produce all these crepitus, it starts to affect the blood vessels, it starts to be painful. And then when you take joint supplements like glucosamine and chondroitin and stuff like that, those are just the ingredients that help the joint to stay supple. Now, but then what about the mind? So you may achieve some kind of therapeutic effect with those things, but what about the mind that actually first initiated that stress reaction that caused that autoimmune reaction that attacks the joints? Okay, so why would your body do that? Is because there was some kind of bitterness that was undealt with and unforgiveness. And guys, like I said before, because this is such a total approach to achieve total health, 100% healing, right? We first need to establish that this must not be carried out through method. Okay, it cannot be a methodology-based approach. It has to be relationship-based, where we actually sit the patient down, foster that doctor-patient relationship, and actually counsel them through these things. And then at certain times, we have to get into the idea, or we have to enter, we have to entertain the thought of actually getting them acquainted with what God says about them. And actually, we have seen in our videos, in our clinic, where actually patients have actually been saved, and that's where they actually achieve the best total healing. But most patients that actually say no to that, they actually end up just having this revelation and they're on their own journey. But everything must come out of a relationship, okay? And I want to submit that to you, that if you are not ready to get into the hard stuff, the heart stuff, right? The heart stuff, then this is not for you yet, okay? So I just really want to say that if any one of you right now watching this, if you have a friend or a family member who actually has these, and this is relevant to you or them, please take the time to really ponder over what I just mentioned. And if these fearful, toxic mindsets came as I brought them up and they resonate with you, please do not feel condemned. Don't feel judged. There is no guilt in Jesus Christ. And I just want to say that hope is there for you. It's waiting for you, and you can achieve total healing. Okay, so with this, I end this video, and I will look forward to adding more value to your life on this channel, Pastoral Care, Patient Care. All right, God bless you for now.